Good evening, all of you. Let's start. Sir, how to go about current affairs magazine? Okay. Should I read it from end to end or just mark keywords for mains and read again and again? Okay. If you are taking your prelims this time, so prelims, if you are taking prelims, then undoubtedly you have to be very judicious. You should not read anything, recommendations, key factors and all, which is not important from prelims perspective. Of course, you should not get trapped into the information. But yes, if you're writing next year, there is no point. You can go through the major things. Only thing is that revision is very important. See, anything, any piece of essay, anything that you write, you just devote 5-7 minutes for revision. The quality of work increases more than 50 times. Just devote 5-7 minutes for revision, but that is a very boring thing to revise something which you have already done. That's a very वही बात है, वही बात तो फिर वही है. So it is penance. Okay. So the point is revision is very important. Regarding Vision IAS current affairs material, everybody studies that. Okay, everybody, any candidate, irrespective of ethnicity, religion, language, institutes. Okay, so they study that literature. Only point is, how do you remember that? Same textbooks are studied by almost all the candidates. So how do you remember that? How will you remember? By constant division. And what is when you will revise constantly? When you give time to yourself. When you will give time to yourself, when you start preparing for civil services. So सारी बातें घूम फिर कर वहीं पे आती है हार्ड वर्क. अब क्या बोलूं? तो ठीक है, एंड बिगनिंग से एंड नहीं. Why this is why engineers are assassinating level. I'm not an engineer, but I know why. I've seen people with minimum effort, they are doing good. They do not get trapped into knowing more. Okay, and if they write a beautiful what you call quote from a book, I am very sure that they have not read the book. They have only read the quote. Okay, but they'll present as if we have read the entire book. So you have to be that smart. And the social sciences students, they are all the time entrapped. Why Akbar used to drink water with right hand. So that is the thing. So you must be knowing what to study, what not to study. Key recommendations, you must develop mnemonics. बिना mnemonics के means में नहीं होगा. नहीं, possible नहीं है to remember so many things. It is not a school exam. It is vast, syllabus is very vast. You have to develop mnemonics. कि अगर मान लिया, what are the key recommendations of Finance Commission? 7 points. 7 points, how you will remember? You'll remember by developing some code, anything. So those 7 points must be remembered. So reading current affairs material is of no use if you cannot remember that. Okay, and of course there would be some areas which would be boring. You don't need to go through. That's not important also. But most of the time, key recommendations, background and all, you have to do. And current affairs should be done like a subject. Current affairs, UPSC is asking current affairs in all the subjects. So it should be done like an optional. Okay. So check, tick, tick. Okay. Right to wealth. Okay. With facial recognizing system introduced by okay. Can we write reservation and equal protection of laws? Yes, of course. When will we have MCAR classes? Okay, so ab shuru ho gaya ab wo sab. Can we write? Amar Pratap Singh has posted 20 times. So, okay. So 3 days back I came across. Okay, ठीक है. He came across an article in the Hindu. Many people read. Okay. So the point is, yes, we'll discuss that. Okay, don't worry. So we have right to privacy. Okay. So we started with Article 21 of the Constitution, and no person, we discussed, no person shall be deprived of his life or personal liberty except procedure established by law. Okay. And person means it includes both citizens as well as non-citizens. Procedure established by law, due process of law, equality before law, and equal protection of laws. All these 4 terms have always been asked consistently. So equality before law is a British concept. Equality before law is a British concept. Equal protection of laws is an American concept. Okay. For that matter, you have this due process of law, American, and procedure established by law, Japanese. Okay, so these are the four concepts. Okay, and also what is the positive connotation coming out of it? Then we discussed right to privacy. So it has been upheld by the Honorable Supreme Court as a part of right to life in KS Puttaswamy versus Union of India. We also discussed another important thing, that is right to life various Supreme Court cases. You may employ them. Two questions have been asked, but they are very easy questions, that right to marry someone or right to privacy is a part of which article. So that was relatively easy question. Okay, so few easy questions UPSC gives. Then we have, after article 21, we have 21A. So what 21A says? Huh? The state shall provide free and compulsory education to the children in the age group 6 to 14 in the manner state may determine by law. Okay, so that is the most important thing, is that Right to Education Act 2009 has been enacted by the Parliament of India to give further framework to the universalization of education in India. And also we have annual status of education report, ASER. बहुत ज्यादा कई लोगों ने नाम भी सुना होगा. ASER report is annual report. It actually is published by Pratham. Okay, Pratham, an NGO which has won Indira Gandhi Peace Prize. Okay, so it qualitative changes of universalization of education in India. So the report puts up that students in India, irrespective of the fact that we have almost achieved universalization of education and more than 90% of the students are going to school, but the quality of education is really bad. Okay, and you see they have highlighted precisely that students of class 4th are not able to do elementary basic mathematic qualification of addition and subtraction. So because universalization of education was a giant move, okay, it's not that easy. Huge amount of resources, humongous resources are put in, and finally India because education is a time bound, what you call asset. So you can get education only, you are getting my point. So after a certain age you have certain responsibilities. So that is why this has been incorporated as a fundamental right under article 21A of the Constitution. What it says, what is the meaning of term free and what is the meaning of term compulsory in the act? The meaning of term free is any amount which, if charged, would stop you from accessing education will not be charged. Matlab, if you are not able to pay a minimum fees also, that will also be waived. Simple language mein, the state may charge a minimum amount. If you are not able to pay that amount, then it will also be waived. Okay, and compulsory means duty of appropriate government to ensure 100% attendance. Okay, neighborhood school means as far as possible the school shall be within the locality from where the children stays. Then you have no physical punishment. This is one of the provisions in Right to Education Act. The financial resources shall be shared by the center as well as state. There shall be a school management committees comprising of the school administration and the parents. Why not in private schools? School management committees in government school. What do we have in private school? Parent teacher meeting. So you have parent teacher meeting. Remember? Okay, so the qualitative response of the school, because that is more of a unit where you pay and you get services. Okay, so that is there. So you have school management committees, and also 25% of the seats you must have seen that movie Hindi medium. Okay, so 25% of the seats shall be reserved in all the schools, aided or unaided, for economically weaker sections. So what the school usually does, what they do, they usually fill these seats by the staff of the children of the staff working in the school. Okay, so many schools also, they have humanistic aspect also. Delhi, it is very tough to get a seat in any of the schools. It's really tough in Delhi. So the point is, so 25% seats are reserved for economically weaker section. This year you must know about the Pratham, that is that NGO which is working for qualitative changes that can be seen after the universalization of education in India. Is it possible to universalize higher education in India and provide it as a fundamental right? No. Even in United States of America, you have a pyramid. Little more than 20% people are graduates. Okay, so in those countries, of course, qualitative, the what you call technical education they take after a certain period. So graduates and PhD, as you go up, the number of candidates keeps on decreasing. It's a pyramid. So universalization of higher education is not possible. The state does not have resources, nor it is required. But of course, we must focus on skill development, because our schools and colleges are not linked with the industry, demand of the industry. So the quality of education is also there in directive principle of state policy, article 45, article 41. So they may trap you by asking a question: provisions related to education are in which of the following provisions of the constitution? So article 45, you have 0 to 6 years early childhood care and education. Then you have article 41 also. So there are other provisions also where there is education. In many of the state municipal, we'll see how municipalities also run certain school with, depending upon the state legislature, to what extent they have been given power. Okay, so education is something which is in this manner. So please write article 21A, right to education. Please write article 21A, right to education. Let's have the constitution first. Or just write, the state shall provide free and compulsory education. The state shall provide free and compulsory education to the children in the age group 6 to 14 years, to the children in the age group 6 to 14 years. Full stop. Have we written that this was added through 86th Amendment? No. The 86th Constitutional Amendment Act 2002 the 86th Constitutional Amendment Act 2002 inserted Article 21 capital letters A, inserted Article 21A, comma, added one of the fundamental duties in Article 51A, added one of the fundamental duties in Article 51A, and added one of the fundamental duties in Article 51A, and also made changes in which article? And also made changes in which article? Article 45 of the Constitution. Article 45 of the Constitution. Then you write, the Article 26 of United Nations Declaration of Human Rights, the Article 26 of United Nations Declaration of Human Rights Article 26 of United Nations Declaration of Human Rights also promotes universalization of education. Also promotes universalization of education. Full stop. Then you write next, the Supreme Court in Mohini Jan case, ruled that education up to higher education level, the Supreme Court in Mohini Jan case ruled that education up to higher education level is an implicit right under Article 21. Is an implicit right under Article 21, but the same was changed, implicit under Article 21, but the same was changed in JP Unni Krishnan case, but the same was changed in J space P space Unni Krishnan, JP Unni Krishnan case, where the apex court ruled that it is only up to the the secondary level full stop आगे लिखिए the government of India constituted Tapas Majumdar committee. The government of India constituted Tapas Majumdar committee. They can ask a question in prelims. Which committee? The government of India constituted Tapas Majumdar committee to look into the universalization of education. Up to primary level. Then you write the Right to Education Act 2009. The Right to Education Act 2009 was enacted. The Right to Education Act 2009 was enacted to further the goals of Article 21 capital letters A. To further the goals of Article 21 capital letters A. Okay, please write. So इसके major provisions लिख लीजिए. A, child should be admitted in age appropriate classroom. Child should be admitted in age appropriate classroom. Child should be admitted in age appropriate classroom. Next, the financial burden shall be shared between center and states. Financial burden shall be shared between center and states. The right to access free and compulsory education. The right to access free and compulsory education. The right to access free and compulsory education in a neighborhood school. In a neighborhood school. Okay. The Act further prohibits free and compulsory education in a neighborhood school. The Act further prohibits any physical punishment or mental harassment. Any physical punishment or mental harassment. Next you write the schools are prohibited from charging. The schools are prohibited from charging capitation fees. The schools are prohibited from charging capitation fees. Full stop. There is also a provision of school management committees. School management committees. Okay. Okay. Then you change the line and write Pratham. Pratham, a non-government organization. Pratham, a non-government organization has recently been conferred. Pratham, a non-government organization has recently been conferred Indira Gandhi Prize for Peace has recently been conferred Indira Gandhi Prize for Peace, Disarmament, Peace, Disarmament and Development has recently been conferred Indira Gandhi Prize for Peace, Disarmament, ठीक है, Disarmament and Development. Development, Disarmament का मतलब क्या बताइए? Arms free world. Okay, next you write Pratham publishes annual status of education report. Pratham publishes annual status of education report looking into the qualitative benchmark. Pratham publishes annual status of education report looking into the qualitative benchmark of education on four key indicators. Qualitative benchmark of education on four key indicators. Okay, put a dash, semicolon and write A. Cognitive development, early language, cognitive development, early language, early numeracy, number कैसे, mathematical skills, early numeracy, NUMERACY, cognitive development, early language, early numeracy. Next final is social and emotional development. Social and emotional development. Okay, ठीक है. So this is it. Now we'll see article 22. If there is a question in mains related to any such thing, so we can do that. Okay. So we have Article 22 of the Constitution. Article 22 of the Constitution, of course, is very important from the perspective of criminal law, but here it is: no person who is arrested shall be detained in custody without being informed as soon as may be of the grounds of such arrest, nor shall he be denied the right to consult and to be defended by a legal practitioner of his choice. Okay. So every person who is arrested, in a very simple language, it conveys that any person who is arrested shall be informed the ground of such arrest. No person shall be detained in custody without being informed as soon as may be the ground for such arrest, and shall he be denied the right to consult or defended by a legal practitioner of your choice. So fundamental right to be informed the ground of your arrest and also consult a legal practitioner of your choice. Okay, समझ रहे हैं, यानी an advocate of your choice. Okay, next is every person who is arrested and detained in the custody shall be produced before the nearest magistrate within a period of 2 years. Why they have you ever seen any particular office or any particular judicial office or any particular executive office mentioned in the fundamental right? अभी तक किसी भी जज या किसी का भी नाम मेंशन किया है? नहीं. So article 22 is very, very important. You see the enormity of the burden that is placed on the judicial magistrate. Actually, this is a very, very conceptual idea that the judicial, every arrest that is done by the police, the judicial magistrate, you shall be produced before the judicial magistrate within 24 hours, excluding the time of journey. So the judicial magistrate further okays the arrest, then only you would be further be in custody, otherwise you will not be in custody. So you see the enormity of the burden on the soldiers of judicial. I read actually a very, very beautiful article some judicial services officer only sent me, that is the humble judicial magistrate. Okay, so judicial magistrate has been provided in Article 22 of the Constitution that every arrest must be confirmed by him within 24 hours, excluding the time of journey. Okay, otherwise you will not be detained further. Every person who is arrested and detained in custody shall be produced before the nearest magistrate within a period of 24 hours of such arrest, excluding the time necessary for the journey from the place of arrest of the, and no such person shall be detained in custody without beyond the said period without the authority of the magistrate. So three things you, from your perspective, three basic GS things you must know. First, you must be informed the ground of your arrest. Second, you should be allowed to consult a legal practitioner of your choice. Third, you shall be produced before the nearest magistrate within 24 hours, excluding the time of journey. Further in the article, it says nothing in this article shall be on an enemy alien. Okay, so enemy alien is the person, citizen of a country with whom India is at war. So at present, India is not at war with any country. And second, it will not be applicable in preventive detention cases. So what is preventive detention? So very simple, punitive and preventive detention. Punitive detention is that you have already committed the offense and you are accused of committing an offense. So the offense has already been committed and you are accused of it. Most of the time it is punitive detention. Puni means punish. So puni, punish ka, and preventive detention, you have not committed the offense, you are prevented from committing the offense. For example, you say that Parliament Chalo March. Every second day there is a march, that Parliament Chalo March, to raise a particular demand. The police detains you in Parliament Street Police Station, keeps you in custody. After few hours, you are allowed to leave. So you were actually about to commit the offense and you are prevented from doing that. So it is, in simple language, it is preventive detention. So this, that you should be informed the ground of your arrest, you should be placed before the nearest magistrate within 24 hours, excluding the time of journey, and also you should be allowed to consult a legal practitioner of your choice, is actually available in punitive detention cases, not in preventive detention. And enemy aliens also do not enjoy this. Very simple. Any person who for the time being is an enemy alien. Now, nothing in clause 1 and clause 2, मतलब ऊपर जो rights है, shall apply to a person who for the time being is an enemy alien, or any person who is arrested or detained under any law provided for preventive detention. Now this is कि अब नीचे इसमें ज्यादा डीप नहीं, बस ये कह रहा है कि preventive detention, whenever you are arrested under a law of preventive detention, maximum period is 3 months. Okay. Before the end of 3 months, an advisory board shall be constituted consisting of people who are either judge of High Court, or although in Lakshmikant they have given that it is judge of High Court, here it is written in Constitution, or qualified to be judge of High Court. So even an advocate who has practiced for 10 years has a qualification to be appointed as a judge of High Court. So an advisory board shall be constituted of a person who either has been or is High Court judge or is qualified to be a High Court judge. That advisory board will further, what you call, further extend the detention. That advisory board will further extend the detention. So that is the thing. So 3 महीना होने से पहले उस advisory board की सहमति ले लेनी है कि इसको further detain करना है या नहीं करना है. So this is the language which says no law providing for preventive detention shall authorize the detention of a person for a longer period than 3 months unless an advisory board consisting of person who are or have been or qualified. Although in Lakshmikant they have written that, few places they have, for example, judiciary, they have written impeachment. Many places, in fact, for example, in one of the majorities also. Okay. So, for example, majority to remove the vice president. What is the majority required in Rajya Sabha? In Rajya Sabha, it is required effective majority. In Lok Sabha, it is required simple majority. So, some places, few words, so better words could have been used. Anyways, so an advisory board consisting of persons who are, matlab sitting High Court judge, or have been, matlab retired, or are qualified to be appointed as judges of High Court have reported before the expiration of the period of 3 months that there is an opinion sufficient cause for such detention. Any person, provided that nothing shall authorize the period beyond, Parliament shall provide for maximum period of detention. अब इसमें इतना ज्यादा नहीं जाना है, बस एक बात है, when any person is detained in pursuance of an order made under any law, किसी भी law जो any law that deals with preventive detention, and a person is detained under the law, this is one of the right that the authority making the order shall as soon as may be communicate to such person the grounds of which order has been made. He must be informed why he has been detained, and shall afford him the earliest opportunity to make a representation against the order. So he can challenge the order at the earliest. Okay, so this is the thing. So preventive detention, punitive detention, Article 22, basic what they want you to know. Basics, they want you to know. What are the basics? One, that whenever you are detained, you must be informed the ground of your arrest first. Second, must be allowed the legal practitioner of your choice, and third, जुडिशियल मैजिस्ट्रेट की पावर ऐसे तो ग्राउंड पे कुछ, लेकिन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के प्रोविजंस में द फाउंडिंग मदर्स एंड फादर्स ऑफ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन हैज प्लेस्ड अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट बर्डन ऑन द सोल्जर ऑफ जुडिशियल मैजिस्ट्रेट. द बर्डन इज दैट लिबर्टी, when somebody's liberty is curtailed, the first authorization shall always come from the judicial magistrate, who in the rung of judiciary is at a very what you call initial pedestal, but still carries a very major responsibility of, because if liberty is curtailed, it is one of the very important rights, that is one of the very important fundamental rights. Okay, so these are the three things, and this is not applicable in enemy aliens or in cases of preventive detentions. अब इसमें of course Article 20 and Article 22 are heavens for advocates. 20, there are so many case laws related to Article 20 and 22, क्योंकि preventive detention, punitive detention, arrest and all these things, and also in Article 20 that you cannot, no criminal law can be retrospectively applied, or no double jeopardy, or for that double jeopardy to what extent, self incrimination पे 100 cases है, to what extent you can be asked to give something, your what you call diary or thumb impression or signature. Now the CRPC amendment has come, so this is very important from judiciary perspective, very very important. But undoubtedly you must understand that from UPSC perspective, basic they want you to know. Okay, that preventive detention. Nowadays they are asking question judicial custody. क्यों पूछा judicial custody? Before the exam last year exam होने से पहले पूरा 4 महीना सिर्फ यही चला. First सुशांत सिंह राजपूत, then the arrest of journalist. Okay, so then the point is कि so पूरा न्यूज़पेपर में सिर्फ जुडिशियल कस्टडी. So anything they do, see, very important in UPSC, they want you to know basics, but you should be very clear about basics. That is why they asked a question. Okay, and even if you are not doing all the questions, okay, because the cutoff is hovering around 46-47%. that is, if you have attended classes only na, you will be able to do 35-40 questions comfortably. Okay, so you just need to maintain that calm in the examination hall and practice. That is more than, but that calm is, you are preparing for 1 year, then there is only 1 day, and the relatives are dying to ask on the day of result, hello, hua to nahi? So actually they mean to ask, hua to nahi? Getting my point? So the point is, there is a pressure. Don't inform anybody that you are preparing for civil services. Just say, I'm running a multi-cuisine restaurant at Old Rajendra Nagar. You can also come anytime. Okay. So, what happened? आ जाएंगे खाने के लिए तो खिला देना, ऐसा क्या है? So the point is, don't say anybody. ठीक है? Please write Article 22. हाँ बताइए. क्यों नहीं भाई? कहीं कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में टेररिस्ट को लेके कुछ अलग प्रोविजन है क्या? फॉर एवरीबडी हु इज डिटेन्ड, द राइट्स दैट आर कॉन्फर्ड. व्हाट इज द लैंग्वेज ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन? द लैंग्वेज ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन इज व्हेन एनी पर्सन. सो टेररिस्ट के लिए अलग कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बनेगा. हाँ, सबसे पहली बात, ये कैसे पता चलेगा कि वो टेररिस्ट है? आप यूपीएससी when you are writing and see it is not about information, it is also about, अच्छा एक सेकंड, it is also about how you respond. Information is, it is not about information only. Albert Einstein said there is a difference between information and knowledge. Okay, knowledge is information. Tell me, there is a phrase that tell me something what is not on Google. So information, you if you ask even a what you call honorable judge of Supreme Court suddenly an article or ye, so he will not be able to say. That doesn't mean that he is not. I meet so many of my professors, okay, so many of my scholars of constitutional law, they say I don't remember any article anymore. Okay, so it doesn't mean that they don't know. It is in वो so why नहीं नहीं मैं बोला वो बेवकूफ थोड़ी है. मतलब माई फैकल्टी शी यूज टू से कि अभी मैं एंट्रेंस दूं तो मेरे से क्रैक नहीं होगा. सो इट डजंट मीन दैट शी हैज द नॉलेज, बट बेसिक. अब मैं आप पर आता हूं. You are preparing for civil services, so I assume that you are a good student, okay? And so you should ask questions which are like relevant from that exhibits maturity. Bum phoda, terrorist hai. You will ask like this, okay? So ऐसे आप नहीं पूछ सकते ना कि बम फोड़ा terrorist है, समझ है? First of all, anybody who is accused of an act, first of all, I don't want to go deeper. The whole world is yet to define terrorism. Okay, in United Nations, there is no accepted definition of terrorism. Okay, so terrorism is yet to be defined and it's a major controversy, and there was also an RTI filed in Ministry of Home Affairs, first thing. Second thing, anybody is accused of terrorism. Okay, so how can we call? So first, there is a judicial proceeding and then he will be accused of an offense which is classified as an act of terrorism. Then only he will be called a terrorist. Anybody be it. So the point is, so Article 22 is applicable right after arrest. So is there a mechanism that within 29 seconds of being arrested you will be convicted as a terrorist? So a common sense says that first this provision is applicable on everyone, and then the person will be convicted as a terrorist. So you cannot say, you're getting my point. So इसीलिए ये सब पर एप्लीकेबल है, ठीक है? So due process of law follow हुआ था अजमल कसाब के केस में, then he was hanged. So we provide, because why Dr. S. Radhakrishnan said that fundamental rights are India's pact with the civilized world. Fundamental rights are so we are also showing we are not Pakistan, we are not Saudi Arabia, we are not what you call countries in our vicinity. कभी सरकार है कभी नहीं है. Getting my point? We are a stable democratic nation. We are seen by the world every 5 years. There is a proper constitutional transfer of power through constitutional means. Let the whole world say whatever they say, good or bad, but at least we are perfectly, every government that has come to power is by legitimate constitutional provisions, okay, and the vote of the people. So we are a stable democracy. We are not Pakistan, we are not what you call Bangladesh, or for that matter other countries where at times there is a transitional issue, especially in our neighborhood. You see what is happening, and Sri Lanka. So of course, so we are a stable, we are seen, we are aspiring to be global leader, and we deserve to be global leader. Okay, so there are multiple reasons. So हमारे यहाँ ऐसा नहीं होता है कि कोई पकड़ाया तो उसको चीटी काट रहे हैं, और ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है कि टेररिस्ट है तो पहले उसका एक प्रॉपर मैकेनिज्म होगा, then he will be convicted, and then only and this is applicable on any person. You see the language, it says any person. And why the founding mothers of constitution, they did not understand the gravity of using the term person. Okay, so why they have used the term everywhere? What they have used the term? No person, no every person. So person is includes both citizens as well as non-citizen, irrespective of the gravity of the offense. Please write, ठीक है? Article 22. हाँ हाँ सुन लीजिए, पहले दिल पे मत लीजिए, ठीक है? सुनिए, कभी भी छुट्टी होती है, कभी भी छुट्टी होती है, सुप्रीम कोर्ट की, हाई कोर्ट की, सबऑर्डिनेट कोर्ट की, दो लोग बकरा बनते ही हैं, दो लोगों की छुट्टी नहीं होती है, दो जजेस हमेशा रहते हैं. माई 50 फ्रेंड्स आर इन जुडिशियल सर्विसेज. गर्मी छुट्टी हो, दशहरा छुट्टी हो, होली छुट्टी, कुछ भी हो, दो जजेस हमेशा अवेलेबल रहते हैं. क्यों? क्योंकि अगर कोई अरेस्ट हुआ तो उनके घर पर लाकर उनको अप्रूव करते हैं. So getting my, always there are two judges. कोई कितनी भी छुट्टी हो जाए, there would be few judges in subordinate court. As per the roster, they will be available. If, of course, if it is holy, so people who belong to other religion, those judges would be there. If it is Eid, so people who belong, so दो judges हमेशा रहते हैं. और घर पे इसीलिए रहते हैं कि कोई भी थाने में अरेस्ट होता है तो उनके घर लाकर they approve the arrest, and then only it is the person is in custody. Okay, so there is always a person, always a mechanism. अब आप बोले कि वो भी टपक गया तो फिर दूसरा जज होगा, कोई ना कोई अप्रूव करेगा. तो आप अब ये यूपीएससी आपसे नहीं पूछेगी. चलिए लेके also on Sunday, of course, exclude, actually इसमें लिखा हुआ excluding the time of journey. In CRPC the provision is different, but always it is followed that even if it is a holiday, they ensure that within 24 hours it is produced. One or the other magistrate approves the detention. सुनिए, सबसे पहली बात है, ये सब कोई क्वेश्चन ही नहीं है. यूपीएससी आपसे नहीं पूछेगा ऐसा तो नहीं होता है बिल कराने ले गए, ऑटो में तेल खत्म हो गया, ठीक है. So, ये सब क्वेश्चन, पहली बात. और दूसरी और उससे भी इंपॉर्टेंट बात कि वी आर डिस्कसिंग फंडामेंटल राइट्स, नॉट सिनेरियोज. Without a shadow of doubt, all the rights that I have said, without a shadow of doubt, all the rights that I have said, there are many instances where they have been breached also. So breached है तो है, अब क्या किया जाएगा, समझ. फिर आप जाइए सुप्रीम कोर्ट, किसने रोका है, जाइए प्रगति मैदान मेट्रो स्टेशन के सामने लिखिए आर्टिकल 20. अब ऐसा यूपीएससी आपसे पूछे, गया लेकर, संडे था, अब बताइए क्या किया जाए. कोई क्वेश्चन लिखिए. Article 22 provides for the establishment of a liberal democratic state. Of a liberal democratic state, full stop. The Constitution places severe checks. The Constitution places severe checks to ensure the rights of a person. The Constitution places severe checks to ensure the rights of a person who is under custody. Full stop. Then you write, any person who is arrested shall be placed before the nearest magistrate. Any person who is arrested shall be placed before the nearest magistrate within 24 hours excluding the time of journey. Within 24 hours, excluding the time of journey. Excluding the time of journey. Full stop. Any further detention must be approved by the magistrate. Any further detention must be approved by the magistrate. Full stop. आगे लिखिए. Next, see, honestly speaking, what we are doing, okay. So what we are doing is from more, what UPSC will be asking, we are doing 3 times more. Okay. So many a times, many things which we are discussing, they will not even be asking. Okay. Thank you, Sudhiji. So they will not be even be asking that. Okay. So what we are doing is more than enough. Many times, for example, it is not possible to remember every fact. Okay. What you need to know is what the syllabus says. UPSC के perspective से basics you must know. Basics से ज़्यादा आपको UPSC would not be. You go through the questions. वही basic 36, 37, 38 basics DPSP they are asking. It is not possible for me or anybody. For example, yesterday I was talking about Indian Evidence Act. Okay. So अब I read Indian Evidence Act. and I am teaching constitution, so maybe possible some sections I forget, so I said section 27. So 27 is related to other thing, it is 32. Later on somebody told me, a student told me that sir it is 32. I said yes I remember. So the point is ki itna they factually nobody, our professors, basic, you know, it is not possible. What we are doing in the class, see, there are 3 phases, okay, in my class. And if it will not happen, then you are also here, I am also on camera. First phase, for initial 2 days, you will not understand. Second phase, for initial 20 days, you will enjoy. And third phase, when you will cry. Okay. And if you don't cry, you come to me after 6 months. I get 800, 900 mails after every exam. Then you will understand what was taught in the class. And then you will feel ki kya humne kiya tha aur how much comfortable I am in the subject. Every day I get those mails. Every single day. When the batch ends, then you will understand. You will get an answer. I'm just saying. Then you will feel ki kya hai. Then you will look for me and I have got more than 10,000 mails. Okay, in all these years. ठीक है, तो मैं डिलीट भी करता हूं, जहां तक होता है रिस्पॉन्स करता हूं. तो आप जितना भी पढ़ाया जा रहा है, दैट इज मोर देन एनफ. योर 17 क्वेश्चंस ऑफ पॉलिटी और वॉट एवर दे आर आस्किंग इज माई रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी. 1 or 2 questions they are asking, N. Gopal Swami Iyengar committee of 1966. I also don't know. Being honest, I also don't know. अब 200 committees बनी है, सारे committees, but the options that were given 1 and 2, 1 and 3 can be easily eliminated. Okay, and you will understand after we end. अब unnecessary question उसको terrorist बोल दिया तो तेल खत्म हो गया. चलिए लिखिए, ठीक है. So second क्या लिखा आपने? For, हाँ, next लिखिए the, क्या लिखा है? The person shall also be allowed to consult. The person shall also be allowed to consult legal practitioner of his or her choice. Legal practitioner of his or her choice. Legal practitioner of his or her choice. Ab Shashidhar Pathak is saying they detained me for 8 hours without taking me to magistrate. So there is a difference between 8 hours and 24 hours. Huh? And they must have understood also. Huh? Okay. Next point you write. Sometimes you don't catch humor. The person has also right to be informed the ground of, has right to be informed the ground of his arrest. Right to be informed the grounds of his arrest. Full stop. Next you write, the above provisions are not applicable. The above provisions are not applicable to an enemy alien. The above provisions are not applicable to an enemy alien or a person under preventive detention, or a person under preventive detention. Under preventive detention. Next you write, the preventive detention cannot be, the preventive detention cannot be beyond 3 months, unless the same has been approved, beyond 3 months, unless the same has been approved by an advisory board, unless the same has been approved by an advisory board comprising of sitting or former high court judges, or comprising of sitting or former high court judges, or a person qualified to be a high court judge. A person qualified to be a high court judge. A person qualified to be a high court judge. Okay. Next you write the the cases of preventive detention, the cases of preventive detention, though the cases of preventive detention, though do not offer the same liberty and protection, the cases of preventive detention, though do not offer the liberty and protection at par with punitive detention, at par with punitive detention, at par with punitive detention, but it must be exercised, it must be exercised with abundant caution, with abundant caution, full stop. Then you write, the Supreme Court places liberty on highest pedestal. The Supreme Court places liberty on highest pedestal. And if curtailed, must be backed by, if curtailed, must be backed by a statutory provision. By a statutory provision. Okay. So actually there is a debate going on that preventive detention may you're not produced before the magistrate and you can be put into custody without going to magistrate for 3 months. So these laws should not be misused. So there is a debate going on, and also many a times, for example, handcuffing had been allowed by Supreme Court only in rare cases. But few days back, one of the students, former students of Jawaharlal Nehru University, who has been accused of certain serious crimes, he was produced in a handcuff stage in a Delhi subordinate court. So the court took note of that, okay, and issued a notice to the Delhi police and multiple reasons. So the point is, of course I do admit that predominantly it is not possible that every time the rights that are there in hinterlands it is followed, and that is a fact also, we know that, okay, but it doesn't mean that they are not there and they are universally not followed. They are followed. There may be certain cases of aberration. What from exam point of view you should know, UPSC, what are the provisions of Article 22? Maximum they can ask if there is a current affair change in a criminal procedure bill, or for that matter any amendment has happened, or any particular issue related to liberty being confined. That also you need to know. Okay. In internal security also you will be what you call reading something more about that. Okay. One we see is Article 23. सबसे पहले तो ट्रैफिक इन ह्यूमन बींग्स एंड बेगार. व्हाट इज बेगार? गार का मतलब क्या होता है? रोजगार, रोज वेज. रोजगार मीन्स, गार मीन्स वेज. सो बेगार मीन्स बे आबरू मतलब बिना आबरू के. बेशर्म मतलब बिना शर्म के. सो व्हेन यू ऐड बे इट बिकम्स विदाउट. सो बेगार मीन्स विदाउट वेज. So you have traffic in human beings and begar and other similar forms of forced labor are prohibited, and any contravention of this provision shall be an offense punishable in accordance with law. So human trafficking, or for that matter begar, child labor is in next article. Okay, this all has been made. This has no place in independent democratic India. Now the next point is more important. It says nothing in this article shall prevent the state from imposing compulsory service for public purpose. Imposing compulsory service for public purpose, and in imposing such service, the state shall not make any discrimination on grounds only of religion, race, caste or class. So what is missing from here? What is missing? Place of? Acha? Ha, Shikhar is asking a good question. Enemy alien Ansal Raj is somebody, a country with whom India is at war, their citizen. Why preventive detention is put under chapter of fundamental rights? Can it be challenged on grounds of violating fundamental rights? Without a shadow of doubt. The incorporation of Article 22 in fundamental right has been a matter of great debate. No country in the world has added the provisions of preventive detention in fundamental rights. So this is something I would not be using harsh words because we are least concerned. Of course, this is something which is he has asked a very pertinent question that there was many scholars feel that there was no need to add the provisions of preventive detention in fundamental rights. That to a country which is sincerely liberal. Okay, so sincerely, so that is something which is there and preventive detention is susceptible to misuse. आंख मूंदी और सोचिए आपको किसी प्रिवेंटिव डिटेंशन लॉ में अरेस्ट किया गया 3 महीने तक पता ही नहीं चलेगा. You will not be produced before the nearest magistrate and the advisory board will keep on extending. So it is something which is a very, very severe thing and it must be used sparingly. Okay, now what is missing from Article 23 clause 2? क्या missing हो रहा है? Sex. Why sex is missing? The state can, it says UPSC यहीं से prelims का question उठाएगा. They will put यहां पर no discrimination on the basis of religion, race, caste, sex or class and they will trap you because nobody can even imagine to think कि 23 में sex नहीं. क्यों नहीं है? It says nothing in this article shall prevent the state from imposing compulsory service for public purpose and in imposing such service the state shall not make any discrimination on grounds only of religion, race, caste, sex or class. सेक्स क्यों मेंशन नहीं है? बहुत ही कॉमन है, बताइए. एक एक करके बोलिए. बताइए क्या नाम है आपका? शशि राज. ओके, शशि राज बोलिए. चलिए. Okay, so why this there can be a discrimination? Okay, any other person please? Okay, maternity leave. Okay, any other thing? बताइए. Because of the physical. और क्यों ऐसा कहा है? सुनिए. For example, God forbid there is a war. It says nothing can in this article shall prevent the state from imposing compulsory service. So the state shall issue an order कि every male in the country shall join armed forces for 2 years. So this is a compulsory service. In that the state will say only male, not female. So that the term sex has not been added over here, so that at that time the men would not be claiming that it is violation of Article 23. So sex can be a ground where the state can ask only a particular gender to actually work. You are getting my point? क्यों deliberately इसमें डाला? जैसे Article 29. We'll see. It is written that in public in government institutions you cannot be discriminated in admission on grounds of. वहां भी sex deliberately mention नहीं किया. क्यों नहीं mention किया? Why? Women colleges? Now you'll say that I'll take admission in Miranda House or Indraprasth College for Women or Gargi College. So you cannot take admission. So deliberately they have. So why the state can compulsory ensure that only men shall be serving in army and women shall not be serving in army, compulsory service. If God forbid there is a war, and you cannot say that this is a discrimination on grounds of sex. That is why you read the debates of Constituent Assembly. Deliberately they have not used the term sex. So nothing in this article shall prevent the state from imposing compulsory service. State किसी भी public purpose के लिए compulsory service कर सकता है. Okay, and in imposing such service the state shall not make any discrimination on grounds only of religion, race, caste or class or any of them. यानी sex can be a ground of imposing compulsory service. Male can be asked to give certain kinds of services and which female will not be asked, and this will not be a violation because this is provided. So Article 23, two things. One, and why this has been added, traffic in human beings and begar. Especially begar was a common practice, you all have heard. Begar was a common practice where people used to work at the place, at the household of the zamindar. So begar and traffic has been banned. Is it a self-executory article or do we need a law to execute it? Huh? So you have Bonded Labor Abolition Act. So you need a law to act. Why that we need a law? Huh? Why do we need a law? Why we need a law? huh? You Article 20 says you cannot be, see the language of Article 20. अभी इससे रिलेटेड 3-4 और क्वेश्चन निकल के आए, कंसेप्चुअल क्वेश्चन. Concept should be clear, you will be able to answer. You will be arrive at a, it says, no person shall be convicted of any offense except for violation of a law. So you can only be convicted for violating a law. So can the constitutional provision by itself send you to jail? No. You need a law to be convicted, or your liberty. Article 21 says no person shall be deprived of life or personal liberty except procedure established by law. There must be a law that provides for your arrest, then only you will be arrested. Okay, so the point out here is, with respect to Article 23, is it a self-executory article? No, it is not a self-executory article. Okay, so just one last thing. Okay, now we'll do 24 भी together करते हैं. अब सुनिए, 24 में you have what is written. Now UPSC will trap you. It says no child below the age of 14 years shall be employed to work in any factory, mine or engage in hazardous employment. सबसे पहले, if there is a statement in prelims that Constitution of India puts a blanket ban on the employment of children below the age of 14 years. Constitution of India puts a blanket ban on the employment of children below the age of 14 years. Yeah, no child below the age of 14 years is allowed to work as per the Constitution of India. Is it a true statement or a false statement? False. क्या कह रहा है? No child below the age of 14 years shall be employed to work in any factory, mine or hazardous employment. So the Constitution is banning only in factory, mine or hazardous employment. It is Child and Adolescent Labor Prohibition and Regulation Act which has banned almost in all, and this hazardous employment is classified by the government, and even household industries included in it. And Child and Adolescent Labor Prohibition and Regulation Act actually places a blanket ban on employment of children below the age of 14 years. And also because of the universalization of education, they'll be going to school. The limited scope that the act offers indirectly, that children who are working as a child artist, सारेगामा और जितना जो बोलता नहीं मुझे वोट दे दो, actually they want votes through the children. You pay emotional करके नहीं बोलता है, कहीं कहीं से लेकर आएगा. So actually all this सारेगा बच्चों का. So first exemption क्या क्या है? Children can work as artists during the leisure hours or during the summer or other vacations. In all these जो Dance India dance और पता नहीं क्या क्या चल रहा है. Okay, first is that. Second, after school they can cooperate in the household. After school they can cooperate in the household, that too within their family. Okay, otherwise there is a blanket ban, but it is not placed by the Constitution. Constitution does not place any such ban. Constitution says no child below the age of 14 years shall be employed in any factory, mine or engage in hazardous employment. अब hazardous employment का example दे रहा है. For example, a child is working as a dhaba. Is it a hazardous employment? But on the face of it, it is not hazardous employment. But the child is working as a dhaba delivering tea across the road on a highway. So the same employment becomes hazardous employment. So the maximum widest amplitude of definition is taken, and the law actually has, just you understand, banned all the occupation. Only exemption that is given is child artists सब जो आजकल टीवी पे इतना है, they can work during the leisure hours or during holidays, or a child can cooperate in their household, okay, after school. That is the only permission. Otherwise, in India, we have also signed certain conventions and it is blanket ban per se. Okay. So Article 23 and 24. Acha, this also needs a law. For example, you start employing a child. So there is a child labor prohibition and child and adolescent labor prohibition and regulation. In fact, 14 से 18 को भी deal कर रहा है. 14 से 18 को भी employ कुछ ही industry में किया जा सकता है. After 14 also, they can be employed in certain industries. There is a list of Ministry of Labor also has come out with in hazardous industries. There are a list of industries where you cannot be employed. Because for adolescent also, you need to protect their health and other things, because that is one of the direction in DPSP. Okay, please write Article 23. Likhe. Article 23 provides for, so 20, we did 23 and 24, na? Please write. Article 23 provides for Prohibition of traffic in human beings provides for prohibition of traffic in human beings prohibition of traffic in human beings and forced labor then you write the word force अब फोर्स लेबर पे कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट असेंबली में भी डिबेट हुए सुप्रीम कोर्ट हैज आल्सो गिवन मेनी जजमेंट्स फोर्स लेबर डजंट मीन दैट यू आर फोर्सिंग समवन force also includes mental or any other form of stress so please write the word force has wide connotation to not only include physical force has wide connotation to not only include physical force but also arising out of any economic compulsion full stop okay next you write अब term जो है इसमें traffic please write the term traffic includes selling and buying of human beings like goods includes selling and buying of human beings like goods selling and buying of human beings like goods and slavery full stop then you write the parliament has enacted immoral traffic prevention act the parliament has enacted immoral traffic prevention act the parliament has enacted immoral traffic prevention act to prescribe punishment for the offense please write regarding bonded labor system regarding bonded labor system bracket में abolition close the bracket bonded labor system bracket में abolition close the bracket act 1976 prescribes for the bonded labor system bracket में abolition act 1976 prescribe for the punishment for the offense then you write clause 2 of article 23 provides for an exception to the above provision full stop ठीक है क्या लिख the state can impose compulsory service the state can exception to the above clause लिखा आपने उसके बाद लिखिए the state can impose compulsory service for public purpose the state can impose compulsory service for public purpose the state shall not discriminate the state can impose compulsory service for public purpose full stop Then you write the state shall not discriminate on grounds only of, the state shall not discriminate on grounds only of religion, race, caste, or class. Religion, race, caste, or class, while imposing such service. While imposing such service. Okay. Now, acha, tell me one thing, कि why हर जगह, अब some students I ask that what is missing from Article 23. So they say कि dissent is missing. So what are the right likelihood that whatever likelihood of discrimination is there, only that is prohibited. A new point is added over here that is usually missing, that is class. So why they have added class? It is very likely that when the compulsory service is imposed, it is only imposed on the poor, not on the rich. So to avoid any such thing, it is provided in Article 23. Okay. So we have a law, and what all laws are there, what you need to know, more than that we have written. Now you write Article 24. Article 24 Article 24 prohibits employment of children below the age of 14 years. Article 24 prohibits the employment of children below the age of 14 years. In any factory, mine, or hazardous activities. Hazardous employment कर दीजिए. Article 24 prohibits the employment of children below the age of 14 years in any factory, mine, or hazardous employment. Full stop. Acha, if there is a question in prelims that the Constitution of India permits the employment of children below 14 years in harmless and innocent work for remuneration. The Constitution of India, इसी तरह का question अब UPSC is asking. The Constitution of India allows the employment of children in harmless or innocent work below the age of 14 years for remuneration. Yes, because it is banning only for, and from, it is Child and Adolescent Act that is prohibiting the employment of children in all kinds. Constitution is mentioning only mine, factory, or hazardous employment. So please write. Thus the Constitution is silent on harmless employment. Thus the Constitution is silent on harmless employment. We are coming ना क्या? Is there any law for bigger children? तब वो children कहाँ रहेंगे? तो चाइल्ड एंड अभी 2016 में चेंज करके चाइल्ड लेब को कर दिया चाइल्ड एंड एडोलेसेंट. सो डिल दे टर्न 14 to 18. अच्छा, बेगर के चिल्ड्रन के लिए, बेगर चिल्ड्रन वो भी इसी में कवर होंगे. और बेगर तो ऐसे भी बेगिंग इज अ क्राइम, ऐसे भी बेगिंग इज अ क्राइम. ओके, सो यू कैन नॉट बेग. ओके, सो यू हैव लॉज, बट ऑफ कोर्स इट इज अ सोशल एविल, you cannot control, so that is there. Please write the Child Labor Prohibition and Regulation Amendment Act the Child Labor Prohibition and Regulation Amendment Act changed the Child Labor Prohibition and Regulation Amendment Act changed the name of the Principal Act to अभी जो नया नाम आया है, that is, please write Child and Adolescent Labor, Adolescent, ADOLE, SCENT. ADOLESCENT. Okay, Child and Adolescent Labor, bracket में Prohibition and Regulation Act 1986. Child and Adolescent Labor, bracket में Prohibition and Regulation Act 1986 as amended in 2016. As amended in 2016. Okay, so we have child and adolescent labor and all these things. Okay, now you tell me, now is there a blanket ban? Just you write, put an asterisk and write certain remunerative work such as participation in what is the generic term used for all these things? हाँ, जो ये जितने डांस इंडिया और reality shows, please write certain remunerative work such as participation in reality shows during school holidays or leisure time is permitted. Okay, so this is it. Okay, so now we will we will do Article 25, which is very important from conceptual perspective. So we'll see what are the terms that are used and what all everything. So we can take a break. We'll do Article 25. Question Article 25 पे क्या आया है मैं बता रहा हूं. पिछले 5 साल में 3 बार आया है. एक बार they have asked the question, do you think our cultural practices are being challenged in the name of secularism? और ये क्वेश्चन आया सबरीमाला वर्डिक्ट के बाद. So what the question was hinting, which case the question was hinting? Sabrimala. Our cultural practices of not allowing women to enter Sabrimala temple complex, which is inside which is in near whenever, एक चीज हमेशा याद रखिए, whenever there is an issue in polity or anywhere, they will ask a question in geography. An aeroplane that flew from Indonesian airline. So next year they asked the question in prelims, Southeast Asia के जितने countries हैं, capital arrange them from south to north. There was an ISIS issue, they asked the question from that location. So this year, map of Ukraine and Russia, the issue is going on, so they will ask a question from geography. Sabrimala temple complex issue was going on, so they will be asking, if whenever there is an issue, they ask Kottayam to Kohima, Kerala se related map पूछ लिया. You must know that it is inside the Pathanamthitta district near Periyar Tiger Reserve. What all primitive tribal groups are there. So जब भी कुछ क्वेश्चन पढ़ रहे हैं तो उसमें interdisciplinary approach रखेंगे तो एक दो क्वेश्चन आना ही है यूपीएससी का. If there is an issue in polity, for example, we are expecting to host G20 this year. Why is it so important? Why it is such a matter of glory for India? क्यों? हाँ? फर्स्ट टाइम तो मतलब क्या, हमने तो एशियन गेम्स भी करा रहे. हाँ, फर्स्ट टाइम ऑल द परमानेंट मेंबर्स ऑफ यूएन सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल, हेड्स ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ यूएनएससी परमानेंट मेंबर्स वुड बी इन इंडिया एट द सेम टाइम. It is first time in the history of independent India that all 5 permanent members of UNSC, their heads of government would be in India at the same time. So hosting this summit is very very important for India. So अभी तो summit होने वाले, अब जैसे राष्ट्रपति चुनाव होने वाला है. So article 25th जुलाई को, हर 20th जुलाई को election होगा. Every 5th year the president takes oath on 25th of July. So any intelligent student will be prepared before they will be asking a question on 5th June. Anything related to president remains extremely important. So you must keep a guess on, if you'll sit down all the, if you guess, then you will be able to predict few questions also. Okay, so secularism pe kya kya aaya, we'll see after the break. Okay, let's start. We have article 25 of the constitution. So first of all, we have already discussed in preamble the concept of secularism. Okay, so that we have already discussed. Just few cases I wanted to dictate. I completely forgot. 22 23 में मजा नहीं आया, तो कुछ केस भी लिख लीजिए, ठीक है? Please write certain cases. I was in the staff room, then I just remembered. Please write. Okay. Write Article 23 का please write. The Supreme Court in Asiad case 1982, the Supreme Court 23 को लेकर, the Supreme Court in Asiad case 1982 ruled that the Supreme Court in Asiad case 1982 ruled that एशियाड गेम्स नहीं हुआ था, एशियन गेम्स हुए थे, ASIAD, एशियाड केस 1982 रूल्ड दैट forced labor has widest of amplitude. The Supreme Court in Asiad case ruled that forced labor has widest of amplitude. मतलब it is not a specific definition where we are forcing someone to work, but economic circumstances का फायदा उठा के if you are compelling someone by using his economic circumstances, that is also a forced labor, is of widest amplitude and even payment of wage and even payment of wage less than minimum wages. Even payment of wage less than minimum wages is even payment of wage less than minimum wages is violation of Article 23. Violation of Article 23. Next you write the Supreme Court also in Bandhua Mukti Morcha case. The Supreme Court also in Bandhua Mukti Morcha case. Actually ये bonded labor का केस ही था. Bandhua Mukti Morcha. The Supreme Court also in Bandhua Mukti Morcha case stated that bonded labor is a blot. The Supreme Court also in Bandhua Mukti Morcha case stated that bonded labor is a blot on any democratized society. Bonded labor is a blot on any democratized society. Okay, full stop. Then you write the bonded labor is a blot on any BLOT, Kala Dhabba, blot on any democratized society. Bonded labor is a blot on any democratized society. Next you write please. In MC Mehta case, MC Mehta case, match industry in Sivakasi. You know Sivakasi is known for match industry and what you call explosives and firecrackers. Match industry in Sivakasi was held to be a hazardous industry. Held to be a hazardous industry. ओके बस एक केस आर्टिकल 22 से रिलेटेड मुझे याद आ रहा है, वो भी लिख ही लीजिए. लिखिए, कोई बात ना, ठीक है, ज्यादा नहीं दिल पे लेना है. लिखिए आर्टिकल 22. सी आई कैन बी स्मार्ट, कॉमा टू. बस मैं फिर वही जो चलता आ रहा है, होता है, हुआ है, होगा, जो होता है, क्या लेकर आए हो, क्या लेके जाओगे, ठीक है. फिर आई विल बी वही जो बेसिक जो होता है, precisely article 22 लिखिए complete. So I want to give 2000% my whatever जो भी मुझे आता है. So you have to be also cooperative. Okay, otherwise I'll switch the gear. Okay, and I'll be just, and अब क्या ही बोलूं, छोड़िए अभी. और ये कुछ अभी we have not even started. अभी वही चल रहा है जो everyone हो. Those areas where severe dearth of information is there. पंचायती राज institutions, elections, 5th and 6th schedule of the constitution. ये fundamental right to all those people in Rajendra Nagar. I am very sure that the Xerox wala would be teaching fundamental rights. Okay, so there is ample of information on fundamental rights, but we will be venturing into federalism. We'll be venturing into Panchayati Raj institutions and urban local bodies, 5th and 6th schedule and elections. These are the areas I love teaching. ये तो fundamental right. फिर मैं वही करूंगा जो किया जाता है. क्या लेकर आए थे, क्या लेके जाओगे, इसलिए जैसे लिखा रहा हूं लिखिए, ठीक है, अच्छे से लिखिए. आर्टिकल 22, आर्टिकल 22 से रिलेटेड एक केस है. द सुप्रीम कोर्ट इन AK रॉय केस, द सुप्रीम कोर्ट इन AK रॉय केस upheld the constitutional validity of, the Supreme Court in AK Roy case upheld the constitutional validity of, upheld the constitutional validity of National Security Act. Okay, upheld the constitutional validity of National Security Act, full stop. It is also acknowledged, it is also acknowledged that for larger national interest, for larger national interest, the liberty can be curtailed, liberty can be curtailed in a restrictive and reasonable sense, in a restrictive and reasonable sense, restrictive and reasonable sense. Okay, actually I don't remember, पर मैं किसी किताब में मैंने पढ़ा, when Sardar Patel was home minister and he was introducing a bill on preventive detention, he writes in his book that I was having sleepless nights. वो 3 दिन तक सोए नहीं थे, 2-3 दिनों तक. He knew the ramification, but this is a necessary evil. You need these laws, which is a blot on liberty, but you need these laws for the larger welfare of the nation. I don't remember in which text I read this. He wrote that I was having sleepless nights for 2-3 days when I was about to introduce this legislation. So you must understand that many times it was very rightly asked by one of the students that why preventive detention is added in the constitution. So many students in the class, every time what you call, you come, some of you are having law optional in every batch. In this class also at least 10-15 have come to me. So the point is, okay, koi baat. So the point is ki this also, you must know that preventive detention under article 22 is also very, very important. Okay, why? Because it is necessary keeping in mind the exigency of this country. Secessionist tendencies US में है. Do they have secessionist tendencies in US? No, but in India we have secessionist tendencies. So keeping in mind preventive detention is also at times necessary. Now we come to article 25. First thing you can do, if you want to write a very good answer, कुछ नहीं करना है. First you need to go through Indian political theory, class 11th, NCERT, secularism. That is more than enough to write anything else. वो जो क्लास 11th की पॉलिटिकल थ्योरी की टेक्स्ट है, in which they have dealt with all the theories, UPSC directly lifted a question from there only. French secularism versus Indian secularism, that question was directly lifted from there. कुछ भी ज्यादा ज्ञान की जरूरत नहीं है. इंडियन पॉलिटिकल थ्योरी की टेक्स्ट और आर्टिकल 25 ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, रीसेंट जजमेंट, 250 वर्ड्स का आंसर है, तुरंत खत्म हो जाएगा 250 वर्ड्स. You will not be having the liberty to write. anything, and you are not a constitutional scholar कि इंटरव्यू में पूछेंगे okay what are your views about secularism, okay ऐसा तो पूछेंगे नहीं. So जो चीज आपको चाहिए you have to write an answer within 250 words. Okay, so for 250 words, whatever literature is available in NCERT, more than, and you read for the entire year about secularism. So let's understand first of all, from where the term secular has come. It is also a matter of debate, but it is said that the term has come from the term seculum, and the term seculum means worldly. So secularism as a phenomena, as an ideology, developed later. First, the idea of thinking rationally is secularism. So when we see a painting, we see such a secular art. So it is then the idea of secularism got further ki first rational thinking is secularism. First thinking that the society shall be based on science and rationality and logic, not on religious beliefs, is secularism. Next, the phenomena of secularism, very simple, all of you know, कि the idea of secularism in the West is absolute separation of religion from state. Pure hypocrisy है. मैंने सोचा थोड़ा रिसर्च करूं कि ये फ्रांस और यूएस में सेक्युलरिज्म बोलते हैं कि वेस्ट वर्सेस ईस्ट. यूएस में दे टेक ओथ इन द नेम ऑफ गॉड, द प्रेसिडेंट. सो इफ यू इन द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन यू आर प्रोवाइडिंग फॉर ओथ इन द नेम ऑफ गॉड, then how is it secular? Second, I saw कि ये छुट्टी कैसे देते हैं 25 दिसंबर को. If it is so secular, how they are called bank holidays? They are called bank holidays. बोलने से bank, just the name that is given is bank holidays. In France also they give these holidays, they call them bank holidays. So just by calling them bank holidays, not by calling them religious holidays, will they become secular? The oath of US president takes oath in the name of God. So what is it? Is it a secular? So I don't want to, I went through the 1908 law of the France, the entire concept of secularism. That's a different thing. The kind of secularism that is practiced in India is undoubtedly the best form of secularism, which is assimilative, which is inclusive. Why this sare jahan se acha Hindustan hamara? So why the world has, why we have been sustaining? Because the soul of the country is absolutely pure. It is very inclusive. And why there is so much of problem with secularism now? Because migration has started. So a society that was living in a particular fashion was fixed with that. Now people are migrating to Western Europe. Now people are migrating to Western Europe. What is happening? So now they are coming with their own ideas and they have a different version of secularism. So their secularism is now under tested. For first point, secularism has everything to do with rationality, science and logic. Secularism is that thinking which comes from the term seculum. Uska matlab dunyavi, worldly. That every debate, what was the debate that was going on before Renaissance? Every time the debate was going on life after death. Never to take the civilization forward, and see where we have come in 500 years. So some scholars started saying that we will concentrate on worldly things, not on post-world. So it is called seculum, which is worldly. Then the idea developed that the state should be separated from religion. State will not. A very common concept of secularism is state should be separated from religion. First point. Yani it will be a non-theocratic state. State does not have a religion of its own. ठीक है, India भी है, common है, कोई problem नहीं है. India also does not have a religion of its own. India is also an absolutely a non-theocratic state. Second point, state and religion are parallel lines. They never meet. अब यहाँ आ गया difference. In France, state and religion, state shall not be interfering in matters of religion and vice versa. Religion shall not be interfering in matters of state. In India, we have a positive secularism. Positive secularism के examples न जाने कितने हैं. Article 27. You see a beautiful term that defines the positive character of Indian secularism. कह रहा है, no person shall be compelled to pay any taxes. आपको फोर्स नहीं किया जाएगा टैक्स देने के लिए. The proceeds of which are specifically appropriated, कहां दी जाएंगी? For the payment of expenses for the promotion or maintenance of any particular religion. Any particular religion. Yani, your tax money can be used to promote all religions equally. 350th birth anniversary of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj was celebrated in Bihar. Bihar government spent more than 200 crore rupees. Yeah, whatever, I don't know the amount. And I live very near, my house is very near to the, our entire childhood has spent in the Gurdwara, where what you call Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, the 10th Guru. So, it is near Patna Sahib. Okay, so the state government spent, although the community also spent thousands, crores of rupees, but the state government also made arrangement. Then in Eid, holiday is given. After Eid, so you have holiday to bhai throughout hai. So then you see Amarnath Shrine Board for the what you call this thing, for the what you call this pilgrims, arrangement is made by the state. Hajj Committee of India, the CEO is an IRAS officer. So the CEO of Hajj Committee of India is appointed by the Government of India. And you have Central Waqf, you know, WAQF. So Central Waqf Board is there. Central Waqf Board is there, which looks after the property of Muslims. In some states, they have bifurcated Shia Waqf Board and Sunni Waqf Board. So those who die without legal heir or give their land for charity, that comes under Waqf Board. My father was CEO of State Sunni Waqf Board. So Waqf is charity. What is charity? Charity, so who appoints? Who will appoint? State government will appoint. So in certain state you have IS officers, in certain state you have state PCS, ADM rank officers. So Waqf Board, who is appointing? So Waqf 100% deals with Muslims, but the appointment is made by the state from one of the civil servants of the state. So Waqf Board is also, the state is involved with the religion. Waqf Board ho, Amarnath Shrine Board ho, Hajj Committee of India ho, Guru Gobind birth anniversary of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj ho, Delhi government celebrating Diwali, UP government showering petals during the what you call 10 days of Dashera, and everything happened. So the state, in south, north mein to kuch bhi nahi, south mein you have such beautiful temple complexes. So all these temple complexes have been taken by the state by passing of law, the administration. Ajmer Sharif Dargah, so law has been passed and the administration has been taken over. The Sufi order challenged that we have the supreme, what you call this thing, command to run the management, which was rejected by Supreme Court. So is India, when Dr. Ambedkar stood to introduce Article 25, उन्होंने कहा, in India all the major preoccupations of Indians, from birth to cradle to grave, cradle मतलब पालना, जिसमें बच्चा, so पालने से लेकर death tak is guided by religion. So the state cannot isolate religion from, it is isolate itself from religion. So what kind of secularism we practice? Positive secularism. पहला point India और West में common है कि West does not have a religion of its own. India does not have a religion of its own. We both are theocratic state. Now in the West, you cannot, many places, for example, hijab ban is there. For example, you cannot wear religious symbols. So actually, religion has been separated completely from public life. Religion is purely a private affair. And Shah Rukh Khan was once asked that, what are your views about religion? He said, religion is like your parents. You cannot say your parents are good and my parents are bad. For everyone, their parents are good. So the point is that religion in India is a very, very major phenomena. India is one such country where religion plays a vital role in every aspect of life. Okay, like you see somebody buying a car. Often we see people put status and all these things. Okay, so how they celebrate through a religion. Anything that happens in your life. So religion is, so state cannot isolate itself. Now, second important character of Indian state, the secularism is, religion is of no value while enjoying fundamental rights. Or any right. Religion is immaterial while enjoying rights. Yes. In India, is religion a factor while enjoying rights? Nahi, bilkul nahi. Third, all public offices are open for everyone irrespective of any religious discrimination. These have also evolved to be the benchmarks on which secularism of a country is tested. So, अब कह सकते हैं कि क्या different versions of secularism? बिल्कुल है. United Arab Emirates has a religion of its own, at the same time allows everyone to practice religion. So it is not a religious, it is not a secular state, but the kind of religiosity they practice permits certain aspects of secularism. So ऐसे नहीं कह सकते कि कोई भी secularism का एक uniform definition. Then you have France, then UK, which claims to be a perfectly secular country, but the president takes oath in the name of God. In India, we have third schedule oaths and affirmations. Any atheist? So in the Supreme Court says, अब Supreme Court एक step आगे. Beautiful definition. Supreme Court says India is one such country where we have agnostic religions. Religion ऐसे हैं जो कहते हैं God को God नहीं exist करते. Gautam Buddha was asked, what is your views about, this is written in NCRT, what are your views about God? He said, there is so much sorrow in the world, I do not want to concentrate discussion on God. So we have religions, Jainism, and certain branches of Jainism and Buddhism do not believe in God. So they have elevated the God, Lord Mahavira or Lord Buddha, some certs. So there is a sect also in that also. So the point is that religion has a very wide dimension. Secularism has more to do with science, rationality. One thing which is common everywhere in the world, which claims to be a secular state, that the state shall not be having religion of its own. Second, religion will not be important in enjoying fundamental rights or any rights, and all public offices are open for everyone. Then comes the positive character of secularism, where India, the state khule dil se patronizes all religions equally. अब उसमें कुछ लोग हमेशा बोलते हैं promotion, why the state is promoting and propagating. State is not actually promoting, state is facilitating the promotion. State is not promoting, state is facilitating the promotion. If you want to celebrate Eid, state will give you holiday. State is facilitating. And why the rationale, if you see the debates, Dr. Ambedkar ke baad, what you call one of the members, I am forgetting his name, I think Pandit Thakur Das, he spoke on secularism, and Mr. Nehru. So the point, they all were unanimous that religion is such an important thing that if you will, it is impossible to isolate religion from state. So Aftar Party, from the state exchequer, Aftar Party is conducted, and it is for social harmony. So the state, the rationale behind the notification that comes, Aftar Party was for social harmony. Okay, so the state is such, in India, religion is such important that the state cannot be. आप imagine नहीं कर सकते Hajj, leave Hajj upon the private. What will be the situation? Leave, the state shall not be intervening in Amarnath Shrine Board, or no holidays would be given on Holi. Imagine government. So religion in India is so intricated with public. In US, when somebody buys a car, he doesn't do what you call, getting my point now. So in somebody who gets baptized, there are only few occasions where they follow religion. But in India, when you step out, then also you chant certain things. So religion is so important, so entrenched that it cannot be isolated. State is not promoting. Even if it is promoting indirectly, then also it is promoting all religions equally. Of course, there may be discrimination. I'm not saying that there cannot be. Human beings are bundle of emotions. So they may behave in a part. You cannot love all the, so they may be, but that is not our matter of discussion. Political parties have different ideologies. At times they may be accused of, but that's politics. We are least concerned. What is the character of Indian state? Saudi Arabia, the name of the king is, he's the custodian of Harman and Sharifan. The name of the king is that he's the custodian of Mecca and Medina. So it is a secular state? No, it is not a secular state. There are many, for example, there are many countries where a mixed form of secularism is practiced, like UAE. At once they allow all the religions to exist. They have even allowed temple to be, at the same time they have an official religion. So they cannot claim to be secularism. Even with respect to France, it is what you call, I don't want to go into the debate, but is Indian secularism the best form of secularism? If, of course, it is one of the best forms of secularism, where we allow the assimilation of ideas, and in India it is impossible to separate. Now, what is the status of secularism? Supreme Court from 1950, from Lakshmindra case, among the pioneer cases on secularism, till Shaira Bano, Sabri Mala, every second, third year there is an issue of secularism. क्यों? किस हद तक इजाजत दी जाए? क्योंकि religion, for example, Anand Marg case, it was held that it is one of the famous cases. Tandav dance is not an essential tenet of the denomination. For example, Shaira Bano, so many cases, Shaira Bano case, Shah Bano case, to what extent the state can interfere. So this has been, abhi ek sabse important judgment is pending before the constitutional bench of Supreme Court, that is Sabrimala verdict. Sabriwala verdict ko review petition file हुए, more than 40 review petitions were filed. अब Supreme Court ने क्या किया? Rather than deciding on Sabrimala only, सिर्फ सबरीमाला पे ना डिसाइड करके द चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया रेफर्ड द मैटर टू अ वेरी हाई कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बेंच और कहा वंस एंड फॉर ऑल डिसाइड व्हाट कॉन्स्टिट्यूट्स एसेंशियल टेनेट ऑफ रिलीजन. सो सबरीमाला इशू में दो और इशू दे दिया, जोड़ दिया. वन, द नॉन एंट्री ऑफ पारसी विमेन इन द टेम्पल आफ्टर शी मैरीज आउटसाइड द फेथ, interfaith marriage, so she is not allowed to enter fire altar temple. And there are some Bora Muslim community genital mutilation of children before marriage, so that issue has also been added. And one, what is an essential tenet? ये एसेंशियल टेनेट डॉक्ट्रिन लक्ष्मींद्रा केस से स्टार्टेड, विल सी दैट. ओके, सो सेक्युलरिज्म पे पहले तो वी हैव ऑलरेडी रिटन इन प्रियम्बल. वी विल सी फ्यू प्रोविजन. इट इज अ लॉट टू बी डन, so many cases and everything, and of course they will be asking a question also in mains, which is very very likely. But you must remember that they may ask in essay also, they may ask in ethics also, a religious condition. Okay, so religion in India cannot be isolated, but at the same time you are what you call, you must subscribe to the constitution. They also know. Okay, so first thing, we have written on secularism in preamble. Okay, all these things we have briefly written about the positive character. अब आते हैं, पहले शुरू ही हो रहा है आर्टिकल. आर्टिकल स्टार्ट्स विथ व्हाट इट सेज. यस, इट इज अवेलेबल, शुभम. ओके, सो इट इज आर्टिकल 25. व्हाट इट सेज? ओके, आर्टिकल 25 says subject to public order, morality and health. So the article confers a positive right with some exceptions at the onset. क्यों इतने एक्सेप्शंस लगाए गए हैं? अभी राइट शुरू भी नहीं हुई है, 3 रेस्ट्रिक्शन आ गए. राइट्स हैव नॉट इवन स्टार्ट. इट सेज सब्जेक्ट टू पब्लिक ऑर्डर, मोरालिटी एंड हेल्थ. यानी दीज आर द 3 ग्राउंड्स ऑफ रेस्ट्रिक्शन एंड टू अदर प्रोविजंस ऑफ दिस पार्ट. ये तो सबसे खतरनाक है. And to other provisions of this part. This question was taken in Sabrimala verdict. एक paragraph में Justice Chanchud has written about this. Other provisions of this part. बताइए क्या है? Why this is very very important when they write subject to other provisions of this part? मतलब पूरी की पूरी जितनी फंडामेंटल राइट है सबका रेस्ट्रिक्शन. आर्टिकल 17. How Justice Chanchud writes that not allowing women to enter Sabrimala temple complex is a violation of Article 17. Subject to public order, morality and health and other provisions of this part. So subject to entire fundamental rights. So it is a very very restrictive way it is given, because religion is creating positivity also and many practices are also there. The all persons, now this is available to all persons, are equally entitled to freedom of conscience, your inner relationship with God, adhyatma, what inner relationship you continue with God, and right to profess. What is profess? Declare, I belong to religion X. Practice puja, namaz. Then Jews go to synagogue. There is a Jew temple at Khan Market. So you have profess, practice and propagate. Tell others about the good values of your religion. So first thing that should come to your mind, what are the 3 grounds of restriction? Public order, morality and health. So if एक एक का example देते हैं. If there is a religious practice that you will walk, take a procession on the road with swords and everything, so it is detrimental to public order. The state can restrict. Morality, if there is an immoral practice in the religion, it can also sati, it can also be restricted. Health, if whether he has stolen or not, he should walk on what you call heated oil. Or getting my point? So this is also an practice that is detrimental to health. So subject to public order, morality and health and other provisions of this part, all persons are equally entitled to freedom of conscience, profess, practice, propagate and religion. Now one thing, हमेशा आर्टिकल 25 और 26 में लड़ाई होती है. अभी 26 देखेंगे तब अच्छे से समझेंगे. 20, so this is individual right or collective right? ये आपको ऑल पर्सन्स आर इक्वली इंटाइटल्ड, दिस इज अ कलेक्टिव राइट और इंडिविजुअल राइट दे रहा है आपको? कोई, तब तो दुनिया की हर चीज कलेक्टिव है, क्योंकि सबको मिला दीजिए तो कलेक्टिव. सो इट इज डिवाइडिंग दैट रिलीजियोसिटी, सो इट इज एक्चुअली एन इंडिविजुअल राइट. आपको अधिकार है, दो लोगों के साथ मिलके भगवान को मानने का अधिकार भी है और अकेले मानने का भी अधिकार है. सो आर्टिकल 25 और 26 का सबसे पुराना क्लैश है. आर्टिकल 25 is predominantly mainly an independent individual right. Now see the language of article 26. We'll see, come back to this 26 also. It says, subject to public order, morality and health, every religious denomination or any section shall have the right to establish and maintain institutions for religious and charitable purposes. So ये individual right है या collective right है? Pure collective right है. So collective right में you can establish a religious institution and run your choice. So सबरीमाला verdict में affidavit क्या file करेगा state? If there is a practice, so we have a fundamental right to run the religious institution as we like. So there is a clash between article 26 and 24 और सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने 1954 में ही कह दिया कि there will be a clash between 26 and 24. 26 should always be read with 25. आप ये कहिएगा कि मुझे फंडामेंटल राइट है अपने मजहब को जैसे भी चलाए, उसकी बुनियाद पर आप किसी की दूसरे की राइट infringe. If you say that there is a cultural practice that women in menstruating age of 10 to 50 should not be allowed to enter Sabrimala temple complex, what about the right of women under article 25 to practice religion, and she wants to enter the Sabrimala temple complex? So 26 must always be read with 25, and 25 is an individual right, 26 is a collective right. Acha, this practice was, if there is any such practice that prohibits the entry of women in age group 10 to 50, this practice was by whom? अगर women को इंटर करने नहीं दिया जा रहा है, जिनकी उम्र 10 से 50 के बीच में है, किसने मना किया उनको इंटर होने से? हाँ, केरला टेम्पल ऑथराइजेशन ऑफ एंट्री एक्ट passed by the state legislative assembly empowers the state government to make rules, और उन्होंने रूल बनाया केरला टेम्पल ऑथराइजेशन ऑफ एंट्री रूल्स 3B prohibits the entry of women in the age group 10 to 50 to enter. So who is prohibiting them? State. So state is prohibiting them, तो आप कहां जाइएगा? You will go to high court or so young lawyers association challenge what? They did not challenge the practice. Practice को तो challenge किया ही, पर precisely किसको challenge किया? Rule 3B of Kerala Temple Authorization of Entry Rules. So there is a clash between Article 26 and 25. It must be read in harmony. किसी को privacy नहीं देना है. अब आते हैं Article 25 पे. We have Article 25. Subject to public order, morality and health, all persons are equally entitled to freedom of conscience, profess, practice and propagate. What is your inner relationship with God? You must be able to declare that I belong to religion X, practice everything associated with religion and propagate. Tell others about the goodness of your religion. अब आता है दूसरा सवाल. So to what extent it can be secured? So Supreme Court ने एक doctrine दी, जो आपने कई बार सुना, the doctrine of essential, what you call essential tenet. Whenever there is a clash between anything, any other provision of the Constitution and Article 25, we will see whether that particular practice is an essential tenet of that religion or not. If it is an essential tenet of that religion, abhi perfect example, sabse Santhara judgment. In Santhara practice, what happens? You know, we all have discussed also. In Santhara practice, who took that Santhara practice? Famous NCERT book में लिखा हुआ है, कौन? Which king? Chandragupta Maurya. Chandragupta Maurya along with Bhadrabadu. There were two, Bhadrabadu and Sthalbadu. He along with Bhadrabadu went to Karnataka. And he took the Santhara. Very at a certain stage of your life, you stop eating and drinking, allow your body to denigrate. Now somebody challenged in Rajasthan High Court. Rajasthan High Court ruled that Santhara practice is violative of Article 21. उसको declare कर दिया unconstitutional. It was stayed by Supreme Court. Supreme Court will see whether Santhara practice is an essential tenet of Jainism or not. Abhi Supreme Court is reviewing the Sabrimala verdict to once and for all decide what constitutes a essential tenet of a particular religion. Now next point in Article 25, अब देखिए कितनी restricted है. You have restricted. Article 25 further says, nothing in this article shall affect the operation of any existing law or prevent the state from making any law. Matlab, if there is already a law or the state can make a law regulating or restricting any economic, financial, political, secular activity which may be associated with religious practice. Any economic, financial, political or other secular activity which may be associated with religion. इससे क्या मतलब है? मतलब है, if there is a temple, the temple is selling laddus. Tirupati laddu also has GI tag. So is it a religious activity or an economic activity? Economic activity. There is a parking outside the temple. It is a religious activity or an economic activity? Running the affairs of a dargah. Running the affairs of the dargah. Is it a religious activity or a political activity? Administrative affairs, it is a political activity. So economic activity, political activity, social activity, see, economic, political and other secular. What is a secular practice? For example, any practice of the religion which is not directly related to religion. For example, Somwari Mela or any such practice which is not an essential tenet of religion, पर वो culture की वजह से religion में आ गई हैं. जरूरी नहीं है कि वो religion, जैसे at what time puja shall be held is a core religious matter. But if something is distributed after namaz, meetha or something, it is not a core religious activity. It is a secular activity. In Islam in India, many practices in Islam are purely taken from Indian subcontinental cultural milieu. It is not an Islamic practice. It is not practiced in West Asia from where the religion, it is actually, every religion has the influence of culture is there on every religion. It is without a shadow of doubt. So many practices in Islam which are not core tenets of religion, but which, abhi kya hua? We'll come to Sabrimala, then you will, triple talaq, then you will understand. Abhi aate hain. So any practice which is not the core of religion, but which is a secular practice, meetha khana, secular practice that got developed eating sweet over the period of time can also be restricted by the state. It is not a core tenet of religion. You are getting my point? It is not an essential. Ab aate hain triple talaq pe, then you will understand. First, you must have heard Shah Bano case, Daniel Latifi, Shaira Bano. You are not required, but you need to have an idea. First of all, CRPC section 125 empowers the magistrate. It is to order maintenance. Okay. Now, what is Muslim Shariat Application Act is there? In Muslim personal law, whenever you give divorce to a person, when the male gives, it is talaq. When the women takes, it is khula. When both of them mutually take, it is mubarat. Okay. So it is talaq can only be given by a male. A women seeking separation would be khula. Okay. She cannot give talaq. This is as per the Islamic law. So a man gave talaq to her old wife. She approached magistrate for maintenance under section 125 of CRPC. Muslim personal law says that whenever a man gives talaq to a woman, she cannot marry up to 3 months. Why? Simple. If she marries within 3 months, if there is a child, so there will be a paternity dispute. Common sense. At that time, there was no DNA, anything. So there would be a paternity dispute. So when the man offers talaq, common sense, she cannot marry for 3 months. After 3 months, she can marry anybody. Okay. During these 3 months, she will be given maintenance by the husband. Okay. She will be given maintenance by the husband and she will not be given maintenance beyond that. Now CRPC section 125 empowers the magistrate to give maintenance till remarriage or death. So a man gave talaq and the women moved, the Supreme Court ruled nahi, she should get maintenance. Their personal laws were infringed, so there was huge community backlash. So the parliament enacted Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Divorce Act 1986 और act में लिखा है कि if a man gives talaq, first she will be given, the maintenance will be given for 3 months. Second, after that, the family members shall take care of her. If there are no family members, then the distant family members should give share in the property and they will take care. If there is nobody, then the state Waqf board still gives 10,000 rupees. So state Waqf board एक scheme है, 10,000 रुपया मिलता है, तलाकशुदा women को मिलता है, वक्फ बोर्ड में एक scheme है. So the state Waqf board shall give maintenance to the women. नहीं, per month नहीं, सिर्फ एक बार. Although it's a very minuscule amount, but there is a scheme. ओके सिर्फ एक बार मिलता है, ठीक है. वो अलग अलग स्टेट की जितनी इकोनॉमिक कैपेसिटी है उस हिसाब से वो देते हैं, ठीक है. पर चूंकि सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने रूलिंग दी थी और उसके बाद प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ विमेन ऑन राइट्स ऑन डिवोर्स एक्ट आ गया तो मिलता है. अब है कि इसके बाद द एक्ट एक्चुअली सर्कमवेंटेड द जजमेंट ऑफ सुप्रीम कोर्ट. क्यों? सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा यू हैव टू गिव मेंटेनेंस अंडर सेक्शन 125, बट द लॉ सेज कि यू हैव टू गिव मेंटेनेंस फॉर 3 months. बियॉन्ड दैट फैमिली मेंबर्स, बियॉन्ड दैट वक्फ बोर्ड विल गिव पाल्ट्री सम 500, 750. इससे क्या होगा? मोबाइल नहीं रिचार्ज हो सकता. मेंटेनेंस तो बहुत ही दूर की बात. ओके, सो द पॉइंट इज कि दिस इज समथिंग. नाउ आफ्टर दैट अगेन अ विमेन वाज गिवन डिवोर्स. शी अप्रोच सुप्रीम कोर्ट. सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा इंस्टेंट ट्रिपल तलाक. सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, तलाक हैज नॉट बीन डिक्लेयर्ड अनकॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल. ओनली instant, if you say talaq, talaq, talaq at once, it has been declared as unconstitutional. There are other forms of talaq. I don't want to go talaq-e-ehsan, talaq-e-hasan, in which you give talaq at intervals. You say talaq, you wait for a month, and then you say talaq. And then again after month, you say talaq. And in between, if there is a compromise, the previous talaq given is void. So those forms of talaq, that is talaq-e-hasan or talaq-e-ehsan, is still valid. Only talaq, instant triple talaq, is called talaq-e-bidat. And bidat means innovation. Innovation means any practice which is not the core of religion, which got invented later. So the Supreme Court ruled that instant triple talaq is unconstitutional. The Parliament went ahead and in 2009, Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Marriage Act 2019, and made it a criminal offense, although compoundable in nature at the instance of women. It's a small act and there are few sections only, but it is a criminal offense but compoundable at the instance of women. So Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Marriage Act. So why talaq-e-bidat was held to be, now again come to Article 25. Why talaq-e-bidat was held to be unconstitutional? Because talaq-e-bidat is not an essential tenet of Islam. This form of talaq creeped in after the codification of the text. This has come into practice later on, and many Muslim countries have already banned instant triple talaq. So this is not an essential tenet of religion as ruled by Supreme Court in Lakshmindra case. So talaq-e-hasan and talaq-e-ehsan, other forms of talaq are perfectly valid. Instant talaq is not valid, and it, of course, it is a criminal offense now. So Article 25 mein, and there are Sabrimala temple case we have already discussed, that women were not allowed to enter in the age group 10 to 50 by a Kerala temple authorization of entry rules. Sabrimala temple complex is Pathanamthitta district near Periyar Tiger Reserve. Okay, so this is, and the Supreme Court, 4-1 verdict. 4 male judges and 1 Honorable Justice Indu Malhotra ma'am, she ruled that in a minority verdict that women should not be allowed to enter Sabrimala temple complex. She wrote in a minority verdict that women should not be allowed to enter Sabrimala temple complex. 4 male judges wrote that women should be allowed to enter Sabrimala temple complex. I went through her judgment also. She says that Article 26, every denomination has the right, fundamental right to run the affairs of the religion as per their own choice. And if the followers of Lord Ayappa, who practices celibacy, who is the deity there, if the followers of Lord Ayappa believe that women should not enter the Sabrimala temple complex, it is safeguarded under Article 26 of the Constitution. So and one of the judges, Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, also said that this is violation of Article 17, that is untouchability. So the point out here is that now review petitions were filed. Now the Supreme Court added 2 more questions. That what constitutes essential tenet? What constitutes essential tenet? So essential tenet of the religion, a very, very important verdict is there, the Supreme Court shall be taking a stand on this particular thing. Let's see what is the verdict. So this is, you have so many cases. We can discuss so many cases. You have Santara practice case, you have Shaira Bano case, you have Shah Bano case, you have Sabrimala case. Every time there is a clash between religion and constitutional morality versus social or religious morality. And the Supreme Court has to balance that. Now another question. Can the state take over the administration of any temple? Yes. Many South Indian temples, there are acts also, Hindu Religious Endowment Trust, Hindu Religious Endowments Acts. Many South India temples are huge, humongous. They have huge, what you call, resources at their disposal, and many such temples have been taken over by the state and people. Ab ek case or whether a particular temple, a person from same denomination shall be appointed as a priest, or anybody can be appointed. Getting my point? So this also the Supreme Court, in some of the cases, Supreme Court deciding upon the denomination, the Supreme Court goes into the character of that denomination. If it is purely a religion based temple, anybody can be appointed who has the knowledge of scripture, irrespective of his caste. But in certain denominations, because this is a very, very subjective thing, in certain denominations, there is a strict thing that a person will be of same, so it is a subjectivity. But of course, the provision in Article 25 that Hindu religious institutions shall be open for everyone. First is, the state can regulate, restrict any economic, financial, political or secular activity. फिर कह रहा है, provide for social welfare and reform or throwing open of Hindu religious institutions of public character to all classes and sections of Hindus. Supreme Court ने सबरी वाला verdict में all classes और sections में women को count किया है. So the state can ensure that all classes, so यहाँ पे किसके लिए है ये? All classes and sections of Hindus shall be allowed to enter. If they are not allowed to enter, the state can force, because this is a provision in Article 25. Now you see the explanation. Explanation 1 says, the wearing and carrying of kirpan shall be deemed to be included in the profession of Sikh religion. Bank के बाहर लिखा रहता है, you are not allowed to enter carrying arms and ammunition except our brothers and sisters from Sikh communities, they can carry a kirpan. Next it says in subclause B of clause 2, you see iska, the reference to Hindus shall be construed including a reference to person professing Sikh, Jain, Buddhist and Jain or Buddhist religion, and the reference to Hindu religion institution shall be construed accordingly. So what are the, is Article 25 absolute or it is restrictive in nature? It is restricted. What are the first three grounds? Public order, morality or health. State can, and what are the 5 fundamental rights that are coming? You have a right to practice, profess, right of conscience and propagate. These 4 rights actually are being given on citizens only or everyone? Everyone. And second part, the state can restrict any economic activity and all these activities that are associated with religion. So Article 25 is very, very important, but the role of state has been given, explicitly mentioned kiya hai, Hindu religious institution shall be open for it. Why this provision has been added? Ki Hindu religious institution shall be open for all classes and sections of Hindus. All classes and sections of Hindus. Muslims do not have a fundamental right to, if there is a prohibition, any such, you are getting my point. All state can, you see, yahan likh sakta tha na, all classes and sections of persons. It says, provide for social welfare and reform and throw open Hindu religious institutions of public character to all classes and sections of Hindus. You are getting my point. This is an important, so that is, of course, there is a provision where this is related to what? Untouchability and disallowing of people from different classes to enter, state can force. Even if there is a, it derives its sanctity from religion only. All the religions of the world, you will find certain things, certain patriarchal notions. Okay, of course, this is a fact that all the religions, patriarchal notions and certain inequalities, getting my point. But the society must move on in an organic fashion. Whatever is good must be taken, and whatever is there which was prevalent at that time when the religion derived its sanctity. Okay, so you cannot be revolutionary all the time. So now you see, the constitution is the best example. पूरे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में 100 places you will find he. With respect to president, he. And what about women being president? So she will not operate, she will not have those powers. Honorable president, we had one women president. So at that time, the gender sensitivity was not that strong. Now they don't even use the term chairman, they use the term chairperson, which is a gender neutral term. So of course, that is why laws are actually organic in nature. Constitution is the fundamental law and it is also organic in nature. अभी लिखिए Article 25. पूछिए. अजान ऑन लाउड स्पीकर को लेके इवन इट हैज बीन many judgments. It is not a fundamental right. If it is prohibited, it is perfectly okay. It is only because of the inclusive character of Indian state कि अजान भी हो रही है, दशहरा भी हो रहा है, सब हो रहा है. And actually, actually it is be any religious loudspeaker, anything. Religion actually is what you call the same people. The same people who want all the rights are willing to give up their rights outside and stand in the queue of US visa. We don't want to hear loudspeaker. We don't want to hear any, just give us visa. All the religions, they are willing to shell. कहाँ loudspeaker में कहीं अजान होती है? In Saudi Arabia, there is one azan, पूरे शहर में all the mosque at the same time. It is not like you will have multiple. Getting my point? एक time पे एक ही बार, or that is connected in the entire city. And in Western European countries, you don't have Western European countries, and many of the rights which you enjoy in India, तो भाई chill out है ना पूरा. You can do anything, any religion. Religion is such what you call any religion. Religion is getting such prominence, and over the period of time with education, literacy, and all the religions. Okay, and it is a very sentimental thing. अगर बोला फिर clip देखिए. So I don't want to say anything, but of course there is no fundamental right to use loudspeaker. This has been ruled by Supreme Court. But of course it is allowed up to 10 p.m. It can be allowed. Okay, but if it is detrimental to the society, it can be curbed also. इसमें कोई fundamental right नहीं है. There are many things which are not fundamental right, but still they exist. Okay, but the state can restrict if it is public order is being violated or any health. So this is something which is very important. Western European countries में you don't have any loudspeaker or any such thing. Okay, but in India ठीक है. चलिए लिखिए Article 25 is Article 25 is important from the perspective of secularism, and अब ऐसा क्वेश्चन आया हुआ है ना, what makes judiciary competent to interpret religious text? So कौन इंटरप्रेट करेगा फिर? ओल्ड राजेंद्र नगर मोड़ पे डिसाइड होगा. जितने इंस्टीट्यूट है सबसे दो आएंगे. ठीक है, पहले तो यहाँ डिसाइड होगा कौन जाएगा. उसके लिए क्यों आपको कॉल SHO करोल बाग, ही विल सेटल आउट. ओके, हिजाब केस क्या कहा कर्नाटक हाई कोर्ट ने? वेरी सिंपल, इसमें कोई बैन नहीं. दे सेड दैट हिजाब इज नॉट एन एसेंशियल टेनेट ऑफ रिलीजन. Okay, so of course it is a matter which is very sentimental, and the Honorable Supreme Court shall be taking a call. And even in Contempt of Court Act 1971, fair criticism of a judicial judgment is perfectly valid. That is fair and accurate criticism. So people who do not agree, they have moved Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court will deliver a landmark verdict, because and there are multiple issues. So it is a very sentimental issue. Okay, because religion also is positive secularism. So at the same time, you have the liberty to wear anything. At the same time, there must be a liberty to cover yourself if you want to. So that is something which is there. But what was the judgment? Although the judgment, as per Mr. Faizan Mustafa, the Vice Chancellor of Nalsar University, he says that the judgment, I was going through his commentary on that, he said that the judgment is very scientific, okay. But of course, those people who have religious sentiment, and that's a very, very personal issue. So that's a very personal issue. Now, if a woman doesn't want to show her hair, that's a very personal issue. You cannot force. So that is Honorable Supreme Court shall take a decision, and we must wait for it, okay. So hijab and all these things. What about, why during divorce only man gives compensation to women? Why not women? Okay. So actually सुनिए, सबसे पहली बात, मैन गिव्स टू थिंग्स. वन, उसकी रीजन है. रीजन ये है कि इन, अभी वही बात है ना, फिर रिलीजियस शुरू हो जाएगा. इन मुस्लिम मैरिज इज अ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. इन हिंदू मैरिज इज अ सैक्रोसैंक्ट थिंग. हिंदू मैरिज एक्ट आने से पहले हिंदूज में देयर वाज नो प्रोविजन ऑफ डिवोर्स. देयर वाज एक्सेप्शनल सर्कमस्टांसेस इन विच डिवोर्स वाज अलाउड, because you take 7 vows across fire that you will be with the same person for 7 lives. For Muslims it is a contract which can be broken. ये एक बेसिक, किसी भी लॉ के फर्स्ट ईयर के स्टूडेंट को मालूम है. For Muslim marriage is a contract, for Hindu it is a sacrosanct. There was no provision of divorce, but Hindu community with open arm embraced the secular Hindu Marriage Act, Hindu adoption, succession, all the secular laws were adopted, and the community has progressively moved on. So now there is a provision of divorce. अब आते हैं क्यों. In Muslim, in nikah, at the time of nikah, the man takes a vow. He says yes, that you accept the women with food and clothing. So it is the responsibility of the male, that they say in Urdu, naan or nafka. Matlab you have to take responsibility of food and clothing of the women. That is why when he gives divorce, he has to give compensation for 3 months. पहले सवाल का जवाब. दूसरे सवाल का जवाब, the money that is given also is meher if it is not given. In Muslim, the male gives to the women because she is leaving her household. So a meher has to be given to a woman by the male. Male cannot take anything. Male gives to women a meher, a substantial amount. Okay, and that amount, if it is not paid at the time of nikah, then when you are giving divorce, you have to give her that amount. That is the amount that is given. अब इसमें लॉजिक है कि अब why female does not give, ठीक है, she also gives, ऐसा कुछ नहीं, ठीक है. So ऐसा कुछ, women in fact cannot take तलाक also. She can take, पहले ही क्वेश्चन ही इनवैलिड है कि women cannot take तलाक, she can take खुला, और म्यूचुअली दोनों में खूब लड़ाई हो रही है तो मुबारक. ओके, मतलब म्यूचुअल थिंग. अदरवाइज, एंड खुला ऑल्सो इफ द मेल अग्रीज. Okay, Kula also if the male agrees. Of course this, क्या हुआ? So if the male agrees, so that's I don't want to go into personal laws. लिखिए चलिए. ऐसा क्वेश्चन है कि what makes the judiciary लिखिए. ये सब रेवोल्यूशनरी आइडियाज लेकर इंटरव्यू में जाएंगे. अब पूछेंगे what makes the judiciary, तो don't you think Supreme Court is like, and then you will say, yes sir, I also feel the same. and then they will say ki, no, they will never say. They say, gentlemen, what else can you throw more light on this? And you will keep throwing light, and they will put dark on your so they will never reveal. Okay, although they are at times kind also. So anyway, चलिए ठीक है, लिखिए. It is important from the perspective of secularism, and also establishes the restrictions that can be imposed, while enjoying these fundamental rights. Full stop. Then you write, it allows you to be theist comma, atheist. It allows you to be theist, comma, atheist, and agnost. Then you write the term secular was added in the preamble. The term secular was added in the preamble through 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. The term secular was added in the preamble through 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act, but it has been provided in the original constitution as a philosophy in article 25 to 28, as a philosophy in article 25 to 28, full stop. Next you write, the constitution allows all persons, bracket में citizens and non-citizens, allows all persons, citizens and non-citizens, to लिखिए, the freedom of conscience, profess, practice and propagate. Freedom of conscience, profess, practice and propagate. Freedom of conscience, profess, practice and propagate. Freedom of conscience, profess, practice and propagate religion, full stop. Then you write, the state can restrict, ये prelims का statement हो सकता है. Which are the 3 grounds on which it can be restricted? The state, and they will trap you by giving some unnecessary grounds. Okay. The state can restrict, they will give sovereignty and integrity of India, defamation, contempt of court, कुछ भी इस तरीके का देकर कंफ्यूज करेंगे. The state can restrict on grounds such as, public order, morality and health. Public order, morality and health. Next you write, the state can also regulate or restrict any economic, financial, political. The state can also regulate or restrict any economic, financial, political. The state can also regulate or restrict any economic, financial, political, or other secular activity. Associated with religion, full stop. Economic, financial, political or secular activity associated with religion. Next you write, ये question आ चुका है actually. The state can provide for social welfare. The state can provide for social welfare. The state can provide for social welfare and throw open Hindu religious institutions. The state can provide for social welfare and throw open Hindu religious institutions. Of public character. Hindu religious institutions of public character to all classes and sections of Hindus. To all classes and sections of Hindus. Okay, full stop. आगे लिखिए. All classes and sections of Hindus. Did we write Dr. Ambedkar's quote in preamble? लिखा था ना? आगे लिखिए. Dr. S. Radhakrishnan. Dr. S. Radhakrishnan. Dr. S. Radhakrishnan identifies the secularism of the East. Dr. S. Radhakrishnan identifies the secularism of the East Dr. S. Radhakrishnan identifies the secularism of the East as a positive concept. Dr. S. Radhakrishnan identifies the secularism of the East as the positive concept. Full stop. Change the line and write the state according to him. The state according to him does not identify itself with any particular religion. The state according to him does not identify itself with any particular religion. The state according to him does not identify itself with any particular religion. Okay? Full stop. अब लिखिए major aspects of secularism. Major aspects of secularism. A. The state shall not have an official religion. The state shall not have an official religion. ब्रैकेट में लिखिए a non-theocratic state. The state shall not have an original or official religion, a non-theocratic state. B. All public offices shall be available to everyone. All public offices shall be available to everyone, irrespective of religious affiliation. All public offices shall be open to everyone. Available, open, कुछ भी लिखिए. Irrespective of religious affiliation. Next you write, religion shall be immaterial. Religion shall be immaterial. While enjoying, religion shall be immaterial while enjoying fundamental rights. Okay. Or any other right. Fundamental rights or any other right. So ये तीनों जो points, religion shall be immaterial while enjoying fundamental rights or any other, ये तीनों point common है west और east में या अलग है? These 3 points are common. Next, now you write. The secularism of the East, patronizes all the religions. The secularism of the East patronizes all the religions. Secularism of the East patronizes all religions with equidistance and equal fervor. Equidistance. Patronizes all the religions with equidistance. EQUI and equal fervor. FERVOUR. मतलब same passion के साथ. Full stop. In deeply religious societies, where practice and philosophy of religion drive, where practice and philosophy of religion drive all major components of life, all major components of life, religion cannot be separated from state. Full stop. Now you write, please write the Supreme Court, the Supreme Court in Shah Bano verdict, the Supreme Court in Shah Bano verdict the Supreme Court in Shah Bano ruled the applicability of the Supreme Court in Shah Bano verdict ruled the applicability of Section 125 of Section 125 of CRPC Section 125 of CRPC, and the Parliament circumvented the judgment, and the Parliament circumvented the judgment Parliament circumvented the judgment by enacting Muslim women, Parliament circumvented the judgment by enacting Muslim women protection of rights on divorce, close the bracket, by enacting Muslim women, bracket में protection of rights on divorce, Muslim women protection of rights on divorce, close the bracket, Muslim women bracket में protection of rights on divorce, close the Act 1986. Full stop. Next you write, change the line. The Supreme Court in Shaira Bano case 2017. The Supreme Court in that was Shah Bano, this was Shaira Bano. The Supreme Court in Shaira Bano case 2017 held the practice of instant triple talaq. The Supreme Court in Shaira Bano case 2017 held the practice of instant triple talaq as talaqe bidat, BIDDAT, मतलब innovation, बिदत कुछ, अब वो तो उर्दू टर्म है ना, उसको इंग्लिश में आप BIDAT लिखिए, DDAT लिखिए, कोई बात नहीं, उसके लिए मार्क्स कभी नहीं कटता. एज तलाके बिदत, ओके, एज लॉन्ग एज स्पेलिंग, सुनिए स्पेलिंग के लिए मार्क्स नहीं कटता है, अनलेस यू आर राइटिंग कैट एज कट, स्कूल मतलब स्कूल. So if you are writing that, which at times I witness at the portal, I don't say anything, ठीक है, क्यों ही किसी का मार्क्स सबको दिखाना, पर ठीक है, उसके अदरवाइज अब इसके लिए कोई ऐसा नाम which is not, you are not, they will never deduct marks. Okay, what did you write? As तलाके बिदत, सुप्रीम, क्या पूरा बोलिए, हाँ, as तलाके बिदत which is unconstitutional, comma arbitrary and worst form of marriage dissolution. Unconstitutional, arbitrary, comma arbitrary मतलब unreasonable, and worst form of marriage dissolution. Marriage dissolution. आगे लिखिए, the parliament enacted Muslim women protection of rights on marriage, bracket में लिखिए, the parliament enacted Muslim women protection of rights on marriage, bracket close. The parliament enacted Muslim women, bracket में protection of rights on marriage, bracket closed, act. ठीक है, मुस्लिम विमेन प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ राइट्स ऑन मैरिज, वो क्या था, प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ राइट्स ऑन डिवोर्स, पॉजिटिव. अब एक्ट की लैंग्वेज से ही पता चल रहा है हु इज एट द सेंटर. सो प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ राइट्स ऑन मैरिज एक्ट 2019, मेकिंग ट्रिपल तलाक अ कॉग्निजेबल, making triple talaq a cognizable offense, although a compoundable one. Cognizable offense, although a compoundable one. Okay, full stop. Can you write 2-3 more cases? We'll end 25. Please write, jaldi likhiye. Although a compoundable one. Compoundable offense जानते हैं ना? ठीक है, आगे लिखिए. अब एक केस और लिखिए. द सुप्रीम कोर्ट इन इंडियन यंग लॉयर्स एसोसिएशन, द सुप्रीम कोर्ट इन इंडियन यंग लॉयर्स एसोसिएशन वर्सेस स्टेट ऑफ केरला केस, द सुप्रीम कोर्ट इन इंडियन यंग लॉयर्स एसोसिएशन वर्सेस स्टेट ऑफ केरला केस, ब्रैकेट में सबरीमाला केस, declared that now you write inverted comma mein, the Kerala Hindu places of public worship, the Kerala Hindu places of public worship Kerala Hindu places of public worship, ब्रैकेट में ऑथराइजेशन ऑफ एंट्री रूल्स, ऑथराइजेशन ऑफ एंट्री, फिर क्लोज द ब्रैकेट, केरला हिंदू प्लेसेस ऑफ पब्लिक वर्शिप, ब्रैकेट में ऑथराइजेशन ऑफ एंट्री, क्लोज द ब्रैकेट, रूल्स as being violative of Article 14, as being violative of Article 14 and Article 25, because as being violative of Article 14 and Article 25, because it prohibited the entry of women in the age group 10 to 50 prohibited the entry of women in the age group 10 to 50 in the Sabrimala temple complex, full stop. Next you write constitutional morality was given an upper hand, constitutional morality was given an upper hand over social and religious morality. Okay, one last case you write. The commissioner, this is a very important case. Commissioner, Hindu religious endowments. The commissioner, Hindu religious endowments वर्सेस लक्ष्मिंद्रा. लक्ष्य प्रोग्राम जो चल रहा है, हिंदू रिलीजियस इंडोमेंट्स वर्सेस लक्ष्मिंद्रा, MINDRA, लक्ष्मिंद्रा. Commissioner Hindu Religious Endowments versus Lakshmindra case, the Supreme Court ruled that, अब बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट है, ए बी करके लिखे, religion is not necessarily theistic. Religion is not necessarily theistic. Religion is not necessarily theistic, but matter of faith. And any practice associated with religion shall be tested on parameters that whether they form an integral part of religion or not. Whether they form an integral part of religion or not. Okay. If you want, I can give you one more case, or if you don't want, it's okay. Please write in Dargah Committee Ajmer versus Dargah Committee Ajmer versus Sayyid Hussain Ali. Dargah Committee Ajmer versus Sayyid Hussain Ali. The Dargah Khaja Sahib Act 1955. The Dargah Khaja Sahib Act. The Dargah Khaja Sahib Act 1955. The Dargah Khaja Sahib Act 1955 was held constitutional by the Supreme Court which permitted all Hanafi Muslims to Hanafi, it is a sect in Islam, okay, all Hanafi Muslims to undertake the matters related to maintenance and affairs of Dargah. Maintenance and affairs of Dargah. ठीक है. So this is the thing कि Act says that anybody can be appointed in the management of Dargah. But why people want to be in the management of Dargah? Huh? So but they'll say ki, so the Supreme Court says nahi, any Hanafi Muslim, he can be this, okay. So we'll see in judiciary. Abhi kaise bata? PIL. We'll see in judiciary. Abhi kaise? Okay. So this is it. We'll see Article 26 tomorrow. Okay. Good night. Take care.